And welcome back to Capital Talk. It's only Monday. That's right, and we're in Juja, deep in Juja with a by-election a week from today. On the bench is a man who literally has transformed Juja in the last year and a half because post-election violence, remember, they didn't have much time, but he's running, he's sprinting education from 17 KCPE 400 numbers to 182. This man says, if only you gave him 5 years, what would he do? And there are other things, hospital, infrastructure, water development, bridges. On the bench, immediate former MP, George Thuo. There's a bridge you were telling me about before, Majumwa, a bridge that really disturbed me.
You know, I want to talk about these things. You know, there are two bridges that I'm very passionate about and I'm very excited about. The first one happened immediately after we were elected. And I was called, I think, the first or second week of January. And as usual, it's that we've lost a child. The story behind the loss was not explained. So when I went to visit, I was told that they were crossing to go to school from one side called Morera to Atongora. And I inquired as to how that would cause them to die. Yeah. And it happens to be across a river, quite a wide section. And they have to step on these stones. And because the water was up, it's slippery, and they fell. Now, what shocked me, and I'm a parent, Jeff, is to be told that that's usual. What can be usual in the 21st century about sending a child out to school and expecting that they may not come home? I would rather they stay in my house illiterate. So I got quite passionate, and I was very lucky. I spoke to the then acting PS in the Ministry of Roads, and very quickly, I can tell you, Jeff, it was the first project I ever opened that really excited me. And you know, I have the photo of that bridge here. It's a metallic bridge, and it was put up fairly quickly. And today, it's one of those things I'm very proud. And you can see the span; it's quite wide. You can see how wide it is.
And this is where they used to cross over.
Correct.
Literally
Which
over.
is where I'm walking along here.
Yeah.
And you know, this is one of those things I'm emotional about. So I was very pleased. It cost about 7 million bob, whatever it cost the government. Now, I say this because one of the things I'm getting to hear from this, propaganda is amazing in politics. George didn't do that. That was government. I accept. I never claimed to have done it. In fact, the people of Juja never elected me to spend my money to do bridges. They expect me to work with government and any other agency, but they want bridges. The one thing I keep reminding them is, please do remember, unless I'm mistaken, Jeff, even before I was elected, when the others were MPs, I hope that government was still there unless it had gone on leave. I believe there has been a government in this country since the colonial era. So the common denominator is government. The difference is George.
Yes.
The other bridge is at a place called that connects Kumari on the Roido side with Juja Farm. Again, it's amazing when you see these photos. Anyone who has seen it cannot believe that this is how tiny and how bad the bridge was. And you can see here it's being swept away by water. We took this photo and they called me to say the bridge is being, I happened to be nearby and my people ran. And we took photos as the bridge was taken away. And it's at the confluence of two rivers. And what happens is during the wet season, when it floods, and because they're hippos, kids can't go to school for weeks. Now that, of course, will affect their performance.
Correct.
And I've just told you my shock at the poor results, KCPE. Now I must play the whole role and accept that anything that stands in the way must be dealt with. In any case, when a place is cut off and their economic lifeline is Juja Farm, they can't operate for months. So again, this is one of those where we were told it is impossible, it will cost a fortune. CDF can't do it unless we stop other projects. But for me, I'm not restricted to CDF in my mind. And one of the things about collaborating with the government is that government has more resources. And again, I went, I pleaded, we dealt with it, it was drawn. And today, as we speak, Jeff, it is not complete. Over 20 million has been spent. Now it's just the embankments that are being done, but people are walking across it. It is huge.
During every season?
It is in use. The first time it was in use was the long range this year. It is in use. It is beautiful. It is huge. And now we can no longer talk about the lack of communication between those two sides. I am very proud of that project. Now, what has happened in the past is that I think people have been short-term in their mentality and their leadership. Because some of these things, you take pieces of timber and buy them and put together a makeshift bridge. It is temporary. Some of the roads we are talking about, if you go to Githurai to Muhoko, for instance, it's a terrible road. It didn't become terrible last year or the year before. It's been like that for many years, for over 20 years. But the solution has always been, let's put in a bit of maram and soil, and then next rains, we are back. Jeff, I can tell you, and this you can collaborate with the government, the road design is complete. This road is about financing, which will start next year. Hopefully we'll do a variation on the main Thika-Nairobi highway at 27 billion. This road is a priority. We have been told as much. And this road will be tarmacked. And in fact, it will then connect to the Eastern Bypass and create another link that is useful economically and socially between the two sides. So it will be done. You go to a place like Juja Farm. A road has been like that since time immemorial. When I have folks there who parents of friends of mine, when they first went to the Juja Farm, who were young kids about 25 years ago, we went there. And it looked like the wilderness. It's been that bad. But we've been working on the Maram. But now, for the first time, we have 12 kilometers from Juja to Juja Farm Center. We have 12-kilometer tarmac road design, which will commence next year. In Thika town, we have the single biggest middle-class estate in Central Province. It's called Makongeni Estate. There is more dust there than you can believe. Kids suffer from breathing-related issues. We've spoken about it. When I said last year that we can do something about it, they thought it was theory. Now you can go there. The main thoroughfare to the other side of Kiganjo is now tarmacked. The road to the market will be tarmacked beginning next week. In Landless next door, the tarmacking is going on as we speak now. Jeff, it's happening. And it's happening in a very short time. Some place called Murera, from the main road that goes to Gatondo from the Kimbo, the GSU place. To Murera Secondary is 3 kilometers, connecting a dispensary, a police station, and the secondary school. The tarmacking will begin later this year. Jeff, it's happening.